Oh, good afternoon. I'll make sure everything is okay. Hope you're all well. Hey Newman, how you doing? It's a brand new month. It's the 1st of December. Hope all of you ended November well. Hope you ended November well, and I look forward to December. And it's remember, it's the end of the year, so we are looking at some possibly choppy or quiet markets. It's gonna be interesting. Happy New December, definitely. Hey Diana, how you doing? Hey Moss, hey Erwin, good to see you guys. Yeah, I hope you all ended November well. It was choppy. It was choppy last night, right? Like I was telling you all in the Discord channel. Hang on, let me just fix this. Fix my chair. Yeah, I was telling you all in the Discord channel. It was I lost on the euro dollar. Got in again, broke even on that overall. And then did a small one on the Aussie, so you know, it was crazy. Yeah, it was just, and I think BL was saying just a bit of a revenge. I just wasn't happy. It should have dropped, so I just thought, you know, it spiked up. It was coming back down. I got back into it. Just wanted to make sure that I covered that loss. Didn't like to end the month on a loss, especially, right? So yeah, jumped into that. Hey Serene, how you doing? Last trading month for the year, but it is a new year ahead of us, so I'm looking forward to that. Just let me know, did you guys read have you guys read the article that I wrote up about the Fed rate cut, possible rate cut, and the timing of that? Let me know if you read that and what you think about that as well. Link is posted in the Discord channel. Erwin got caught out yesterday but managed to recover. We're on the same boat. Got caught out but recovered on that, so that's happy. Good for that. Good morning, Hiker's Diary. How you doing? Hey, Royal Governor. Good to see you. Hey, Ted. Good morning. Good afternoon, actually, in Australia. Not yet on the Fed cut rate. Do read that. Put in a couple of hours on that. So it was something that I thought of yesterday. Took time to get all the data and figure things out, and then wrote it up today. So do catch that and share it if you like, right? If you think it makes sense. Hey David, how you doing? Hope you're well. Hey Jim Brown, how you doing? Alrighty, so not everyone's here, but almost everyone is here. If you are new to the session, do drop a message, say hi, let me know where you're joining us from. For all the regulars, a big welcome back. We embark on December together again. So let's look forward to that. Typically not a lot of trades in December. We'll see how that goes. And you know, definitely planning for next year, right? A lot of interesting things to happen next year, so we're planning for that. The link for the Discord channel is there. If you haven't already, do make sure you join us. If you have any questions at any point in time, please feel free, put into the chat, let me know. And help me out massively, please. Do click that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. All you do is just click on that thumbs up button on YouTube or that little rocket ship button on TradingView. Helps us get more people onto the stream. Good sharing information on the Discord channel as well. Okay. Hey D-Train, how you doing? Hiker's Diary with a quick question. Despite the dovish PCE data, inflation data on the US and yield rose up, what was the reason for that? I think it's end of the month spike or end of month closing of positions. Right, that's why we saw that spike up, and then after that retrace back down again. Well, the euro spiked up and then retraced back down again, but we saw the dollar index shoot up quite a bit. I think it was a bit of a retracement from the overall drop for the month. Thank you, Erwin. I really appreciate that. These live sessions are really helping, and still on my first year of trading. Many more years to come, Erwin. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to being part of that journey. Hey, Gorju, how are you doing? Good morning. Alrighty, so A quick disclaimer, any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material only. The contents of this webinar are not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product, and please remember to do your own due diligence because your objectives, financial situation and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. Okay, with that, I'm guessing the sound is okay. We took one whole year and I finally sorted out the sound issue. Hope I don't jinx it, but you know, new mic seems to make everything work better. Okay, so since we last spoke, what happened? Right, since we last spoke at 3, we were talking about this, we were talking about this on the Discord channel where we saw the Euro CPI numbers came out, was 2.9, expected 2.7, came out at 2.4, so a slowdown in Euro inflation growth. CPI, core CPI 4.2, 3.9, came out at 3.6. Again, that was a slowdown in that CPI growth. Because of that, less likelihood or less need for the ECB to hike rates. Hence, we saw a brief drop, right? This was the Euro at 6 p.m. Where was it? There. Zoom in a bit. Right, that candle there, we saw a brief drop on the Euro, triggering my trade to the downside, right? So I thought that was going to be good news as it pushed lower. And then OPEC meetings, I don't think there was much, I didn't pay much attention to that. Voluntary reduction, yeah, I didn't pay too much attention to that. 160,000 barrels. Yeah, so it didn't do too much. Wasn't the 1 million that we were expecting. And then the big question here was the core PCE price index for the US. It came out it was 0.3, expected 0.2, came out as expected at 0.2. Looking at the euro dollar, I anticipated as it bounced back up, I anticipated that as that news came out. So this was that point, that point right there. I anticipated that it was going to continue lower, right, with the there we can see that tail there, as we saw the PCE price index slow down 0.3 to 0.2, inflation slowing down in the US. I thought, you know, further dollar weakness to come around, but what happened, my trade was just slightly in the profit, spiked up, hit my stop loss. But I was going like, it has to drop, right? We should be seeing some of that dollar, you know, firstly that dollar spike down, and then after that push back up. So I thought, you know, okay, since it's going to push back up, let me try and trade it down, right? So I lost a 20 pip on that, and then almost immediately jumped back into it. I saw that candle. I want to get rid of that. Let me move that to the side. Right, I saw the candle close out, still looking like it's bearish because of that. Take that away. That big tail, rejection of the big tail. So as it closed down, I went, okay, I'm going to try and sell it down just to cover that 20 pip loss. It spiked down, closed out at 20 pip, broke even on the euro. That chapter closed out. So I broke even on the euro for that. Back to Hiker's diaries questions about why did we see PCE come out at 0.2, should see the dollar dropping, but yet we saw the dollar, you know, bounce right back up. We saw that strength come back into play. Basically, again, if you look at it at this point, let me see where we. Just bear with me for a moment. Ooh, way back there. Okay, so this was where are we? Hang on. November 1st, right? And if you look at this in the overall scheme of things, it kind of makes a lot of sense. November 1st, we were right there. Right at this level up here at 107. Right at 107. And then through November, it dropped, it rebounded a little bit, it dropped, it sat in consolidation, it dropped, it rebounded, and then it dropped, and now it's showing a rebound. If you just did this all the way down, right, and we took some of the levels, put back some of the levels in there, you see that from that whole big drop since November, well, for the whole of November, I'm bordering on having too many lines right now, so I'm just going to be a bit wary of that. You see that at 23.6 as the first Fibonacci retracement level here is where, right there, right, is where we saw the dollar index retrace right back to, right? So it just retraced right back to that point. I would say that it's a retracement from end of the month, a retracement from the overall big drop from 107 right down to 102.50. Now it's just retraced back to that 23.6 level. I remember briefly mentioning about, you know, it being end of the month, thinking that we're going to see a retracement. Didn't think that it was going to be that big a retracement, right? Didn't think it was going to be that big a retracement, especially now that we zoom back in. Oops. As we zoom back in, you see that it broke out of that trend line. So, you know, big drop like that, and then it broke out that trend line. That resistance now ends up becoming a bit of a support. Probably a lot of orders or a lot of expectation. I'm talking as if the dollar index is something that you would trade, but it's just really an indication. But a lot of expectation that once it breaks past that level, maybe, you know, that momentum or that sentiment that is going to push back up. But good thing is that we have seen it test that 23.6 level and then now retrace back down a little bit. Okay. Bearing with that in mind, you would also take that away. With that in mind, you would also note that the next retracement level is at 38.2, which is at 104.20. I don't think we're going to see that get to that point now, or rather today, being the 1st of December, being the end of the week as well. I think it might sit there and test its levels a little bit today. Okay, so that explains a bit why we saw that break, a big break to the upside. That one we can take away, that's over, right? A big break to the upside, now testing that 23.6 retracement level. Question from Ted is, why did the Aussie not drop again against the dollar index? So if you look at the Aussie, right, it did drop, right? So this is where I got my 30 pips from, just about 35, I think, there. So I was looking at that point there, that's why I have my line right there. I think I signaled to you guys, I did get into the Aussie as it was pushing down. This was at 6 o'clock, together with the Euro, right, pushing down. It spiked up following the news. Right, I thought, oh great, I lost on the Euro, am I going to be losing on the Aussie as well? The next moment it spikes right back down. I found that level closed out about 35 pips on the Aussie. So net was about 35 on the Aussie. Spike right back up again, pretty much following that overall move that we've seen, you know, like on the dollar, on the Euro, we've seen or that spike at that 11 o'clock timing. I couldn't find what happened at 11 that caused that spike back up, but we saw that at 9 and then that drop at 11, that brief drop at 11. So I think it tested 23.6, no, 23.8, and then after that retrace right back 20.6, and then it retraced right back down a bit, which caused everything to have that big retrace. Okay, so it did drop against the dollar. The Aussie did drop against the dollar, but wasn't really sustained, as it bounced back off this level and sat there. Right, again, you see that overall big move to the upside. It looks like it's a bit of a retrace before sitting at that level again. So I hope that answers your question there, Ted, about the Aussie. I deleted my level. Okay, then Diana's question about the gap on the dollar. I don't know why there was a gap. I think it might just be a price feed area, a price feed issue. Don't know why there was a gap here. Shouldn't have been. Maybe check your own charts. Tell me if there is. But based on this, there is a gap. I don't usually pay much attention to gaps. I think you all know already. So that didn't really play a big factor in my view when I came back into the office to look at the trades again. And that was at 6 a.m., 6 and 7 a.m. in the morning. Oh, 7 a.m. candle just disappeared. Let me just check. Okay, this 7 a.m. this candle disappears as well. So yeah, I don't know why there was a gap there. Okay, yes, there is a gap. Let's see what happened at 7 a.m. Any crazy news? No, I don't think anything. I don't think anything was a major news there. I don't see any major news events arising from that. I think it could just be a pricing, a big shoot up overnight, a gap. I don't think that it's going to fill. I think, we'll get into that, but I don't think it's going to fill. I don't know why there was a gap there. Okay, hey Desiree, how you doing? Hey Udemy, hey Angel Case, good to see you all. Okay, so that was what happened last night since the last time we spoke. At 11 was pending home sales. It shouldn't have caused such a big drop, right? It did go from 1.1 revised down to 1%, expected minus 1.9, came out at minus 1.5. So it did go from a positive to a negative number in terms of pending home sales. In other times, like if I rewind back maybe 5 years ago, I would say that would have quite a big impact on pending home sales. But in the current economic situation, I don't see that playing a big role in the in that move, in that drop. Okay, so I could attribute it to pending home sales, but I think there might be another reason in terms of that retracement at 11 o'clock. Ted says, yes, I closed the trade, and after the Aussie dropped at 35, we're just in bad time zone. I closed at 11. Yeah. Yeah, once you close out, and then, we saw that bounce right back up. That's the 11 o'clock. That dollar retrace before it's just sitting right at that support turned resistance level at 6620 right now. Okay, so that was all that happened last night. We did see price spike up, come back down. I would attribute it a lot to the end of the month scenario. Core PCE price index is encouraging though, because it's showing that we're going from a 0.3 to a 0.2. Overall inflation growth rate is slowing down. Again, as we see inflation slow down, CPI numbers or inflation numbers slow down, do check out the article that I was sharing with you all on the Discord channel. Read that, tell me if it makes sense, tell me if you like it or not. I want to hear your views on that. So with that, then looking at today, we did have Caixin manufacturing PMI release at 9:45. I told you that does typically have a little bit more impact than the Chinese manufacturing PMI number. It went from 49.5 to 50.7. So from that contractionary phase into that expansionary phase, right? And you can see that 9:45. Where are we here? It did push the Aussie up a little bit, but not a great deal. Okay, so still at that resistance level right now. Then following on from that, not much else for today. PMI numbers, I'm not too particular about PMI numbers for the Eurozone for now. President Lagarde speaking at the ECB forum on banking supervisions. Maybe, but not entirely as well. And then we have employment change and unemployment numbers for the Canadians, 5.7 to 5.8, looking like a bit of a slowdown in employment change, looking like a bit of an uptick on unemployment rates. We might be considering some weakness coming back into play for the Canadian dollar or the loonie. And then manufacturing PMI for the US, ISM manufacturing PMI for the US, 46.7 to 47.9. That was a bit of a surprise drop from 49 to 46. Might see that as a bit of a bounce back up. I don't anticipate that this would be over 50, so but might still be good news. Okay, then so no major things to pay attention to today for the news. In terms of the news, I would even err on the side of caution that we did have the end of the month yesterday. We are at the end of the week. Maybe look for some setups, but don't try and force anything out. I think that we might actually see more sustained trend, or looks like it's developing a trend right now, whether it's a continuation or retracement. It looks like it's developing something right now, but not entirely ready at this point. Okay, so urge a bit more caution at this point. Now, I was going to do something. Oh, we check out the CME. Just wanted to show you that. Buba's question, do you allow your trade to run unmonitored by setting take profit stop loss? Typically, usually I won't leave it run. I'm too much of a control freak, right? I'm too much of a control freak. I like to monitor my trades unless it's well into profit. You know, I'll move it to break even, or just well into profit, I'll let it run, or I've got a good profit margin, I'll let it run. But typically I will, and this is what I do, you know, you don't have to do that, but typically I will sit there and watch. I'll do something else. I'll write articles, I'll do coaching, I'll do meetings, but I will be watching my charts as it if I have trade open. Yeah, but once I don't watch my charts, then I'm totally tuned out of the markets, right? I don't know what price is, I don't know where it could be heading towards. So I'm fully focused when I have a trade. Once I don't have a trade, I'm totally switched off. Hope that answers your question there, Buba. And I think it helps a lot of people. I think it would help a lot of people to, if they are able to switch on and off. There are people I know who would not have a trade open and still be watching the charts, or have a trade open and be constantly, doing something else, but constantly being in touch with the markets. It just becomes a bit too tiring. You just need to know when to on and off. Makes it a bit more sustainable that way, I think. Okay, so CME, we are looking at this now at 95.4, 44.6% chance of a rate hike. I think that the meeting is on the 13th of December. We're most likely going to see rates stay, right? We're most likely going to see rates stay. But what you will also notice is that we're now shifting, not so much tendency on the idea that we're going to see rates cut. So I think that we had that small chance, well, 1st of November, we had a small chance a couple of days ago of a rate cut, but most likely we're going to see that stay on the 13th of December at the current level. Then, now looking at the charts. Okay. Whoa, today is the 1st of December. Okay, there we go. Next month is 2024, imagine that. Okay, so now we have this level here for the whole of November's big drop. 23.6 is a major retracement level, or the Fib retracement level. The dollar index, now that it's broken this big trend line, I can take that away. Let me see if no, it wouldn't work. So I can take that one away. Okay, and it's sitting right now, dollar index at 103.33. Okay, 103.33. This level, if I go away, yellow box. Okay, if I do that, just catch this point. Let me catch the bodies first. Could come back down to the resistance turned support level here at 103. Because yesterday I lost trade, I could have secured 40 pips on pound yen. Yeah, if it's 40, you know, before the news kind of scenario, I would close out the trade. That one's still valid, so we'll keep that. Dollar index, we see that. I'm sure if Spiros is on, he would tell me that we have some pattern of that sort, right? Bit of a pennant there. But what I'm looking at is with no major news, for the US today, right? I'm a bit undecided because it is sitting right below, or not right below, but below that retracement level at 23.6. We have support here at 103. I would generally be looking for that continuation of the down trend, of that major downtrend, right? And we took that. Right now it's sitting again at that 23.6 with 50% being at this support level. Okay, so what I would anticipate because of this would be I want to say that it could come down to here, but I just don't know what's going to happen in between here, whether it's going to bounce back up and then turn down, or whether it's just going to sit there and then turn down. That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. Okay, so what we have is that I think it's going to, how I'm reading the price is that I know that there's a gap there, right? We'll say that it's going to, let me just do one more thing, check. Bollinger is right in the middle, it's right at that mid level there. So I would say that dollar index is likely to consolidate at the around 103.30 to 103.40. No, actually, I think it's going to bounce around. It's going to bounce around here. So 103.30, 103.50. This is 103.50 right here. So it's going to bounce around here. But we're looking for it to look to break lower to test support at 103. Okay, so I think what's likely to happen in this scenario here, let's draw that again, is that it could bounce around this level, but I'm looking for it to break down towards that trend line and that support level at 103. Okay, how many active trades do I concurrently enter? About 2 to 3. So about 2 to 3 active trades. depending, it all depends on what's your account size, what size trades you have, you know, whether the market, how's the market moving, but about 2 to 3 I would recommend for most people. Okay, Spiros is there, hey. Bullish pennant. Target is under the 38.2 for the month. Okay, I see your question. I see your things about power. I'll check that shortly. 38.2 for the month is right there. So that's a very bullish pennant. If we did that move for now, just to check some levels. Okay, we're definitely done with, you know, we have that. So 61.8 is right there. 50. So that move to here, we have 61.8. So there's a nice confluence there. All right. And because of that, I think that it might hold. So that's why I'm looking for that downward push. Let's check what's Powell going to say. What's he talking about? At midnight, navigating pathways to economic mobility in the Spelman College in Atlanta. Fireside chat and a roundtable discussion at the college. I don't think it's going to be a big price mover. I don't think it's going to be a big price mover. I don't think it's a policy. There will be any policy talk. If the fireside chat brings up anything about policy, about interest rate decisions, Powell's stance is most likely going to be a wait and see. Right? He's very unlikely, or not going to say anything about a rate cut. He's definitely not going to say anything about a rate cut. They're probably, if they ask about do they see a continual rate increase or rate hike, I think it will be a wait and see depending on data. So that's why I don't think it's going to be a big price mover or sustained price movement because of this speech. Okay? Spiro says, I don't believe it either. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So hope I answered Desiree and Hiker's Diary on that. But good spot. Thanks for pointing that out. So I see that confluence there. That's why I'm thinking of consolidate just below that point, looking for it to break lower to test the support. Obviously, if it breaks up, then the next resistance level is at 104. Okay, if it breaks up, then we will have other scenarios on dollar strength if that comes around. Then now looking at the other charts on dollar strength scenarios like here, right? So Kiwi came very close to trigger, didn't early this morning, so we take that one away. A lot of these levels we can remove. I'll take that one away because that's done. 61.8 from this move, 38.2 from this move still holds. 50 is done, so we take that one away. And we have that, okay? That trend line is still valid. Just checking the bodies. Even if we took the tail of that and the tail of that, right? Just catching that tail and this tail, this one came close. We have that level there. I would say this will be in a dollar strength scenario. So, if we do see that, like Spiro says, that bullish pennant up towards that 104 level, then you could be looking to sell down. I see a bit of a top on the Kiwi already, so you could be looking to sell down 6125. Stop loss no more than 20 pips. Take profit about 40 to the downside. We catch this level, that's fine. Yep, that's relatively straightforward. Wouldn't be looking, and I know you could be looking for it to turn and bounce back up. We haven't seen many big news on the Kiwi for now, so I would say I'll give that the dollar strength scenario where 6125. Okay, so we're looking for Kiwi to sell at 0.6125, stop loss 20, take profit 40 to the downside. Any ideas on BTC? I can get to that later, right after gold. We'll get to Bitcoin after gold, all right? So stay tuned. Make sure you click that like and subscribe button if you want me to get to Bitcoin as well. Okay, then on to Aussie. Okay, Aussie, I had that trade. I was a bit annoyed we did not see it bounce back up to form that double top formation. Would have been nicer, big drop or more sustained big drop possibly. Right now, just below that resistance of 6620, the trend line, we can revise that way. I don't like it that much, so I'll take that one away. We have that point that we paid attention to, or I pay attention to close out the trade. 38.2 doesn't work. 61.8 was that area. Now that it's sitting at this point, take that one away. We have that done already. Let me just check. I don't need it to go there. I have this. That makes sense. 61.8 right there. It looks like more downside on the Aussie, but it is sitting right in consolidation under this point. Okay, so again, this would be on the, I would like to see that bounce. But I don't see any major reason. Next week as well, we have the Aussie interest rate decision. They're going to hold most likely. So we're trading into the rate decision. And then on Friday, we have non-farm payrolls. Okay, so back to the Aussie. Sitting at that point, can you go over gold and US yen? Yes, I will. That's my standard package. So we'll do that. RSI is in overbought on the Aussie. Thanks for that, Diana. So load. Okay, there it goes. RSI. No, RSI is right. I think you're talking about the daily time frame. Yes, daily time frame is just turning down slightly from the overbought region. H4 is all sitting right there. I'm undecided. Why I'm undecided is because I do see a bit of a bounce, but I think it's going to turn back down. Okay, so what I'm talking about is I think we'll see that move. All right, dollar, you can see that pushing back down a little bit. So might see that bounce a bit. If it stays above, why do I have this resistance level here? I have this point here. I don't feel that this is a very strong resistance. I don't feel, well, you can see that it's broken that so easily. So that was relevant because of those highs, but let's take that one away. Okay, now you look at this, and then I would be looking at this as a bit of an interim level. Right, we know that we have the big one there, but I'm looking at this point. I want to see it test this level a bit and then turn back down. Okay, so what I'm looking for here is, again, a bit of the dollar strength scenario. 6620, stop loss about 20 pips, take profit. We could go down to about 40, 50 pips to the downside. Diana says daily time frame go to fair value. Oops. Daily time frame fair value would be about there. Hey, we got it. All right, so it's about that point there. I think that's what you're pointing out. I'm not full bottle on it, so I think it's about there. 6570, Diana, does that sound right to you? So I think you can get to that point, which is fair. Yes. Okay, so I would say that a bit of a bounce, look for that break. If it does go straight down, then, you know, we've missed a trade, that's fine. Or miss a move, not a trade, miss a move. But I'm looking for it to test and reject. So 6620, 20 to 50, that's what I'll be looking out for. Sell 0.6620, stop loss 20, take profit 50. Take that one away. And we'll say look for retracement to complete. Okay, there we go. So looking for retracement to complete, and then after that, look to sell it back down. Then, now, yen was my best friend for many trades this month. Right, many big trades this month was on the yen, but now we see that forming a bit of a double bottom. I wouldn't say it's a textbook but double bottom for this, but we saw that push right back up. None of our trades got triggered for that. Take all that away. We know that this level was all broken. 61.8 would have been gone as well, so we can take that one away. This one, I believe, would have stopped at about 50, maybe a bit more. Stopped at 61.8. Okay, you can see that yen came right up to that 61.8, tested that level, and then started turning back down again. You know what, as I'm looking at, well, just from the last three, Kiwi, Aussie and yen, I'm looking at possible dollar strength scenarios. Possible dollar strength scenarios, which is that breakout above 103.50 to the upside. We'll see how that develops. Okay, so this is also another way I look at it. You know, I go through the charts and I look at overall, if we do see more setups possibly heading towards the upside, then I'll go back to the dollar index and go, okay, it looks like a lot of things are going to lose ground against the dollar. That means the dollar is going to get strengthened. Let me find reasons or levels of why the dollar could strengthen. Then we can build it from the front all the way back, or we can build it from through all the charts and then look at the dollar index as well. Okay. I want to see that one's there, that's fine. This level is here. 61.8 is right there. This part could push back down. It feels like what it feels like at this point is that we are forcing a bit of a trade setup. All right, I'm trying to force a bit of a trade setup on the US yen at this point. Right, because how I'm looking at this, if it breaks above 61.8, then I'm looking at 148.80. Right, I have a 40 pip stop, I have a 90 pip take back up. Then if it rejects and turns back down, then I would have a trade back down again. But what's happening now is that I don't like that move so much to the downside. What I'll be looking out for in this case, 148.70, just past that high. It needs to close past that high. 30 pip stop, about 100 pip take to the upside. You know, looking for possibly that range to maintain, right? This range on the dollar index to maintain. That could trade quite nicely, breaking above the 61.8. So 148.70, 30 to 100. Buy 148.70, stop loss 30, take profit to 100. Okay. If it drops, I would not. So what I'm looking at is for that. But if that turns back down, then I won't do anything unless, I won't do anything unless it breaks past that point. In this area here is just a bit too choppy. You know, we have a support level, we have that near level, we have a couple of levels in between. So I feel that it's just going to be a bit too all over the place. If it comes back in here, I would be looking for that push. I will only be looking to sell down on the yen if it breaks below 146.80. The next support level is there, but you know that, so 146, we still got a good 80 pip move to the downside. Okay, and Blessed, how are you doing? We may get potential inverted head and shoulder. I think you're talking about that, and then maybe come down to bounce back up. I wouldn't consider this as a shoulder. All right, wouldn't consider that as a shoulder. Or if you're talking about this and that's too equal, I wouldn't consider that as a shoulder as well. I would, yeah, so I'll maintain that view, all right, that I'll look for that to buy up. It's moving right now. Dollar index pushing, not really doing much, for that to buy up, okay? And that's still a good 100 pip move to the upside. Then onto the pound dollar again, sitting right there. Pound dollar was quite active before, but over the last week, it's just been sitting in that range and not doing too much. Right? So 23.6 broke. 38.2 seems to be the level to the new level that it's found a bit of support at. And it's sitting right at that support level. This trend line is done. We don't have any pound, well, we've got pound manufacturing, which is expected to stay the same. Not big changes expected here on the PMI numbers. So I don't see any big moves on the pound dollar. I would say this would be a good candidate for a bounce, right? Because we've seen a bit of a support here in this area. So we see that if we see the dollar index trade down, I would be looking. So a bit less. I mean, I've been doing this retrace and bounce back up on the pound dollar 3 times now already. Hasn't played out at all, but looking for that move. Looking for that move on the pound dollar. Where's Jamil? Jamil with my pound dollar trades. Okay, 50 is right there. Pound dollar, I tell you what you actually have. You have this, and I think this is where you can do that. 1.2660. Right, you have a 30 pip stop and a 60 pip take on that. or if it breaks below this level, then you'd have 1.2610. Again, about this time you can go 20 pips to 60 pips to the downside. And let's check where 61 is. It's right there. So you could have that on the pound dollar. Given that it's sitting right at that support level, it looks like a good level that we can do a bit of a straddle on. Okay, so I like that one on the pound dollar. Pound dollar, we have a straddle. We're looking to buy at, am I typing it right? Yes, 1.2660, 30 to 60, 1.2660, stop loss 30, take profit 60, and then we have a sell at 1.2610. Looks like it's pushing down now, 20 to 60 again. 1.2610, stop loss 20, take profit 60. And you see that dollar not really doing that much, but yet we're seeing the pound dollar push back down. It's just sitting at that level. I wanted to break past this 38.2 and also those levels there to signal that downward push. Okay, so that's what I'll be looking out there for the pound dollar. Now, with that, euro dollar, I'm so angry with the euro. So much work for break even. Take those away. That one is done. 61.8 is done as well. So we can take all that away. And then we have this point, which doesn't make it's not relevant. At the most is that there. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? I'm looking at a lot of things pointing back down towards losing ground against the dollar. A lot of things looking like it's losing ground against the dollar, but yet we're looking at maybe the dollar pushing back down a little bit. It might have that chance that it could do that, break out of that level 61.8 to the upside. We'll see that how that consolidation plays out. It's pushing now. My yen is climbing. Pound dollar is doing well. Euro dollar break. This, it looks like dollar strength. That's tiny. I think that's tiny. It's a 20 something pip move. That's not worth it. Right, beyond this point, we do have another level here at 108.30, which we need to watch out for as well. What I would do on the euro dollar is actually do nothing now, right? Because even if you did try and trade it down, you could catch this. Right, it did retrace back to that 23.6. So I do think that we're going to see that push down. All right, and if you sell that to the next level, so 30 pip stop, that's still not worth it. It's still 50 pips. Unless you look for that to break 108.80, stop loss no more than 20, and then take profit about 50. Then it might make sense. But we do have a couple of, it could be that, it could be that, it's this whole area there. So to watch out for. Okay, we can do that one. And I'm looking like I'm selling everything across, so I'm looking at dollar strength actually. But what we'll say here is that we have, let me do that. too messy. Okay, that's fine. Put a base on that. Okay, so dollar, we're looking to sell 108.80. 108.80, and then 20 pip to 50 to the downside with hesitation at 108.60. 50 with hesitation at 1.0860. There we go. Watch out, we're watching out for what might happen on the dollar index. Then onto the Sweezy. I will still keep that same view of do nothing. There is, I don't think this will be a, no, it's terrible. I was going to say a bit of an inverted head and shoulder, but it's not the kind of setup that we'll be looking out for. We have that trend line from way back there. So we could see this, again, dollar strength scenario. Looking like we might be seeing a lot of dollar strength, right? We might see this push back up. 8760. Not a big one, 40 pips, no, 35. Stop loss tight, no, not that tight as well, 25. All right, so we could look to trade it up. This level we don't need actually, that's fine, we can take that one away. That level does stay. That's at 61.8, which held. I would not do anything on the Sweezy again, right? Because you can see that. Just want to check something. Okay, no, it's come down. So that candle was before that big drop. So we could see it come back to this point and then sit around there. All right, so that's a level that we're watching out for. I think in that case, it's just right in the middle. There's too many levels all around. I will stick with that view of doing nothing on the US Swiss franc. Then onto the CAD. Remember, we are looking at possibly weakness on employment, weakness on unemployment rates. So weakness on the CAD, pushing that back up. That trade did not play out. Bouncing off this point. Weakness on the CAD. We are looking for that to push up. And we're looking at the dollar strength. So I might revise my dollar strength, my dollar weakness scenario, because everything we're looking at so far is on to dollar strength. I can take that one away. All right, that level is invalid now. It's sitting along this consolidation for now at 1.3540. I think what's going to happen is this is going to sit here, right? And you can see that's interesting that the CAD is, US CAD is pushing slightly to the downside, but yet we're seeing that strength on the dollar. What typically should happen is if you see that strength on the dollar, then you should be seeing this push back up. So it's consolidating there. I feel that the next is going to sit there for a bit, but we are looking for it to push back up. Maybe about 1.3580. Stop loss about 20 pips. Take profit right back up there to about 60 or 55 pips to the upside. Okay, so sitting right there, consolidating. Okay, so we're looking for it to break out of consolidation by 1.357, I think 80, 20 to 55, 1.358. Stop loss 20, take profit 55. Hey Jamil, how you doing? We've done pound already, Jamil. Okay, so that's pushing back down. See, the funny thing, as much as this is pushing, now it's turning back down a little bit, but we're seeing that still pushing to the downside. It's gonna sit there a bit. Now is the test. Oh, I just realized we've gone past the hour as well. Now is a test of whether it's going to sit in that consolidation. We're going to break out. Okay, so we're going to watch for that. If the CAD trades lower, if the US CAD trades lower than breakdown, I would still be looking for it to bounce back up because of the possible news. So we'll still keep that view. I'm just a bit surprised that it looks like it's pushing down. Dollar is retracing a little bit, but we're going to see that sit there and then look for that push back up. Jamil is already on a sell on the pound dollar. Been selling it early, I think. Yes, so we're looking at a possible straddle if you haven't already got into a trade. Then on to gold. Haven't done much on gold since it did not break above my level. Okay, my trend line there is still valid. My 38.2 here is still valid. Level here is still valid. That high is still there. If the dollar retraces, pushes back down, we're going to see that push back up, but it's most likely going to sit there it's going to range between. I don't see it dropping. I don't see it dropping that much unless we see the dollar hit that 104 level, but I anticipate that we're going to see it range. 50 will be right there, right at that tail. Right, so we can see that, but I would say that gold likely to range between 20,036 and 20,050. Right, about 50, and I think it's going to stay within that range. I don't see any big reason why we're going to see a big breakout. So you could be looking to trade that range, or I would be looking to trade that range. I don't like trading range, but yeah, probably don't trade a range. Look for the breakout. Gold is likely to wide consolidation between 2036 and 2050. 2036 and 2050 in that consolidation. Yeah, so that's what I'll be looking out for. Wouldn't be looking for unless it comes down here and bounces, then I could trade it back up from 36 to 50, but typically not so keen on trading the range. Thank you, Diana. Have a super weekend. And then someone was asking about Bitcoin. It is at a major level here. I'll just put that in just because the first thing I see at 38,392. All right. Looking like we're going to see more upside. H4 daily time frame, checking that again. We can move these levels here. We do have another one here at 40,000. Beyond that, we have 43,000. We'll highlight those levels. I do see more upside on Bitcoin above this point. Next resistance at 40,000. I think that's relatively straightforward. I don't see why we're going to see a retrace. I don't see any reason for a retrace. Yeah, looking like it might get to 40 and possibly even 43. Okay. So yeah, Capitero, hope that answers your question on Bitcoin. Thank you, Gorju. With that said, then, with that said, you know, catch you all on Discord. If anything else happens, yeah, it's still sitting there. Good thing it's sitting there. I don't want to see it break out. I want to see that turn back down, or yeah, even I want to see something happen. I don't want to see it sitting there. With that said, please trade well, trade safe, have a super weekend. If you haven't already, look forward to seeing you on Discord. And with that, take care and bye-bye.